Free agent quarterback Derek Carr's market right now is white hot. Lots of widespread interest around the NFL as he is already a free agent after being released after the season by the Las Vegas Raiders. He was due $40 million next season. That's why the Raiders decided to go ahead and cut him after he lost his job last year, and they are looking for a new quarterback there for the Raiders as well. Let us know in the comments section where you think he ultimately ends up, but let's break down some of the options. Now, Derek Carr is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. That is why he is getting such widespread interest. Of course, his performance at the Pro Bowl didn't hurt either, where again he showed his accuracy. He, of course, did come under John Gruden's wing anyway, back when John Gruden was still a head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Really showed some strides of growth with Gruden, a more offensive-minded head coach in his wing. But now with Josh McDaniels last year with the Las Vegas Raiders, things just weren't the same. Over the last couple of years, his accuracy dipped a little bit. The offensive system was a little bit different. And so going into a system much more like the John Gruden offensive system might be the best case scenario for Derek Carr. An offense predicated on accuracy, moving the ball, completions, those types of things are exactly what a team that's bringing in Derek Carr should look to try to emulate. The success that he had in that Gruden system. Now, the teams that are interested, there's quite a few of them. We'll start at the top. The New York Jets are looking at Aaron Rodgers, but of course, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, they're left with guys like Lamar Jackson, etc. The easiest one for them to acquire right now would be Derek Carr because he's already available. You don't have to trade other assets to bring him in. The Jets are looking to spend at the quarterback spot, and Derek Carr would be a wise investment. Now, of course, they could bring in Jimmy Garoppolo as well. Made a video earlier this year about that possibility, but the Jets absolutely need to bring in a quarterback to at least be a contender in the AFC. If they bring in the right option at quarterback, they could be looking at themselves as a Super Bowl contender. That's obviously their pitch to Derek Carr, as they said, hey, win a Super Bowl here with the Jets, you make yourself a Hall of Famer. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. You can check out the video here on YouTube about that as well. But Derek Carr is certainly a very accurate NFL quarterback and is capable of winning a Super Bowl if he's in the right situation. Are the Jets the correct situation for him? Remains to be seen. Another team that's expected to be interested in him is a team that's already met with him. Before he was cut by the Las Vegas Raiders, he met with the New Orleans Saints. Saints obviously need a quarterback. They haven't had one since Drew Brees. Bringing in a quarterback like Derek Carr would be the best move that they've made at quarterback. I mean, Jameis Winston, great arm, etc., but not accurate, not able to move the ball down the field, and you saw the limitations of their offense because of their play at the quarterback spot. Now, they're going to be without Alvin Kamara for at least some period of the season next year, as he just got indicted out in Las Vegas for his actions at the Pro Bowl last year anyway, but we'll see what ultimately happens with the Saints. They need a quarterback. Bringing in somebody like Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, again, is their best option. They don't really have much ammunition outside of that. They can't really go after guys like Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, but the most feasible options for the Saints appear to be Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, of course, the Colts have tried the veteran route for the past 3 or 4 years, and it just hasn't worked out. They've tried retreads anyway, Matt Ryan, they've tried Phillip Rivers, they've tried Carson Wentz, to no avail. And so I think they might prefer going with somebody in the draft, looking at somebody like a C.J. Stroud, a Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, etc. Will Levis. There's a lot of good options, a lot of good first-round eligible quarterbacks this year, and they need to get some consistent play out of that quarterback spot. Do I think them going after a retread would be the best option for them? At least for the short term, sure. But I think they need to get themselves a long-term answer at quarterback. They've tried the retread route, and they've got another guy coming in there at former offensive coordinator from the Philadelphia Eagles. They tried that before with Frank Reich. We'll see if take two works a little bit better. But the Colts need some consistent long-term play at the quarterback spot. And while initially the first quarterback that goes in there, whichever quarterback they draft, etc., they might struggle in their first season, but they might be the better option going forward long-term. This team is a little bit more in transition as far as their roster is built anyway. They built a really nice defense with Eberflus as their defensive coordinator. He has since moved on to the Chicago Bears. New regime coming into the Colts. I think going after a quarterback in the draft is probably their best option, but then, of course, they hitch their wagon to that quarterback. If they want a long-term tenure there, maybe Jim Irsay will allow them to go the veteran quarterback one more time, go after a Derek Carr, go after a Jimmy Garoppolo, if they don't get the quarterback of choice in the draft. But again, that's going to happen way after free agency is pretty much done with in the NFL. So you have to make your decision early. Free agency begins in the NFL, I believe, in March, so keep your eyes peeled for what ultimately happens there for the Colts quarterback spot. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had Tom Brady last year, did not necessarily go as well as they had hoped, but they got a Super Bowl out of Tom Brady while he was there. Great, exciting time for the franchise. The team is currently in limbo. I mean, they got a whole bunch of aging veterans that are now exiting the team or on the back half of their career. So they're going to have to turn this roster over. I don't necessarily think they're going to have the draft picks available to them to draft a quarterback in that first round. I think almost all of them are going to be gone by the time the Buccaneers do select with their draft selection. The one thing for the Buccaneers, though, is they can go out there and bring in a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr to at least keep the ship afloat for the next couple of years. And that's a very winnable division as well. Looking at the division itself, the Panthers are probably going to draft a quarterback, so you have a chance to make the playoffs over them. The Falcons, nobody expected them to be as good as they were last year, at least by the record. Now, obviously, they still had their limitations offensively with Mariota and Ritter there. They're still looking for a quarterback. We'll talk about them in just a moment. But this is a very winnable division. Pretty much every single team in this division is looking for quarterback or quarterback help. So the Buccaneers, with a good defense that they have, even though they're a little longer in the tooth, they could still win that division quite handily if they bring in a quarterback that's able to handle things like a Derek Carr or a Jimmy Garoppolo. The Falcons, another team we just mentioned, are in need of a quarterback. They brought in Marcus Mariota, mixed bag of results. They tried Ritter there at times, and it just isn't looking good as far as the quarterback position there in Atlanta. If they're able to bring in somebody like Derek Carr to give them some stability, I still wonder about their total playmaking ability on the offensive side of the ball. I still think they should pretty much do a complete teardown, go through the draft, and try to get some more developmental prospects. The draft pick of Kyle Pitts obviously hasn't worked out so far, but if they're able to get something out of him, if they're able to finally tap into that limitless potential that Kyle Pitts had when he was coming into the league, then maybe Derek Carr is the best option to get it out of him. Because again, he's had very inaccurate quarterbacks to work with. He's had a rookie last year. He had Marcus Mariota, more of a mobile, active quarterback, just trying to make something happen with his feet. And oh, by the way, there's a wide receiver wide open. Let me try to get it to him. Oh no, I airmailed it by 10 yards or whatever. Derek Carr will not be in that same situation. He'll be more of a pocket passer, deliver the ball on time, and be able to move the chains a little bit more effectively. So maybe he's the quarterback to come in there to try to get something out of Kyle Pitts while you continue to try to draft and develop other talent. If you decide to go the quarterback route in the draft this year, understandable as well. Now, of course, there's a lot of teams out there that need quarterback help. We mentioned the Panthers as well, but it seems like they're looking more towards the draft in order to get that done as well. We talked a little bit about the Colts. We talked about the Jets as well. As far as Derek Carr, he's got a very robust market right now. Let us know in the comments section where you think he fits the best and where do you think he ultimately ends up going, and do you think he gets that $35 million he's been asking for. Thank you guys for joining us here at The Upside. Hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date on all the latest from around the NFL as we keep you guys updated from everything that's going to happen around the NFL's free agency.